Today, I want to talk about your identity is the sum of your habits. At this stage in life, at this stage in life, identity becomes a very important factor. Therefore, reaching a point where you are transitioning from a place where your views were shaped through family, friends, school, at a very young age without your permission. So, making your own choices of who you're becoming can be challenging. And sometimes we find that a lot of people figure this out later in life. I am noticing that women are finding this space sooner rather than later. A lot of times, women have found this space actually when they've turned 40 and they become essentially liberated, especially coming up in an era where a lot of people were suppressed mentally and expressively. Navigating this space can be lonely and leaving you with the feeling of being lost. However, having a sense of direction can assist with traveling through this area of life with a better awareness of what is taking place. Major identity realizations can be challenging, this we can agree. When making a conscious choice to elevate and deconstruct beliefs that no longer serve you can turn into an awareness that one may not have been prepared for. I don't think we think about how heavy that is when people decide, like, dang, I was being taught wrong, or I was being indoctrinated, or that wasn't who I was, that was placed upon me. There's a bridge that is necessary to get to the desired results. The bridge is the space between is the space between the old identity and the new identity, that new journey we're embarking on. We have two sides, who we are and who we want to become. They are not side by side. These two identities often don't start off sitting side by side. One is present and one is sitting on the back eye of the stove. Okay. And so whichever one becomes present, the other one becomes what? The shadow. So therefore, the bridge is a place that is not often addressed or at least acknowledged. The bridge is not built, if the bridge is not built correctly, it can leave one in what we would call an identity crisis. So before we get too deep into this, there are some things I would like to define, some words that I would like for us to be on the same page about, because a lot of times we'll use terminology and we think that we know the definition or we know what definition that person is using, because we do know that certain words have several definitions depending on the context that you use it in. So for some, change may not be hard, but it can be challenging. So let's keep this as simple as possible as we proceed forward. Identity is the first thing I want to address, and it is an individual's sense of self defined by physical, psychological, and interpersonal characteristics that is not wholly shared with any other person, and a range of affiliations like ethnicity and social roles. The word identity was originally derived from the Latin language, which emphasizes on being and repeatedly. So it really, identity means being something repeatedly. That is an identifier. That is how I identify who you are. So whatever it is, if you wear your hair short all the time, that's part of your identity, right? Oh, the girl with the short hair, she wears short hair all the time. It's part of who you are. You do it repeatedly, and it can be as simple as a haircut, or it can be as extensive as the way you think. Like, that person stands on those principles and those morals. They display that repeatedly. So I believe that they believe in the things that they're saying because their behavior repeatedly represents this. And the next word we have is habit. Habit is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. A usual way of behaving, something that a person does often in a regular, repeated way. So both, right? Identity and habit is what? It is repeated behavior. Okay. So that's why it says your identity is the sum of your habits. So your identity is the result of the repeated habits that you display. So I have to display this habit repeatedly, and then you will say, hey, this is an identifier, and this is how I identify this individual. So, your habits are how you embody your identity. The more you repeat a behavior, the more you reinforce the identity associated with that behavior. Your identity is literally your repeated beingness. I can't emphasize that anymore. I guess we'll have to double down, triple down, and say that it is essentially how you show up or the lack thereof. So, it's not also doing nothing is repeated behavior. I don't think nothing is not really nothing, because if you do nothing, you're telling me something. So in that nothing, I'm realizing something. You do nothing. That's exactly what it is. So the lack thereof, your identity is not based on what you say rather than what you do. This also answers the question of how to prove who you are, and the answer is what you do repeatedly is who you are. So whatever your identity is right now, you only believe it because you have proof, and the proof is what? The repeated behavior. The way your life is shaped and the people in it is the direct proof of your identity. So when they say, oh, don't associate me with them, I just hang with them. Those are not my friends, but those are the people you spend the most time with. I've heard before someone say is that your identity is the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So therefore, you are some type of resemblance of that behavior, of that environment. Of course, your habits are not the only actions that influence your identity, but by virtue of their frequency, they are usually the most important ones. Also, acknowledging that experience also shapes your self-image is important as well. We all experience life. It happens. You touch a stove, it's hot. So you learn after a while, don't touch that stove, okay? You learn that you may have went through some things in your younger years, and now you proceed with a little more caution because you took that experience and it shaped who you are, because you used, to some degree, hopefully, wisdom. And that wisdom said, hey, I'm not doing that again because I know where that leads. I know where that goes. I know how that shows up, right? So that experience shaped you. Prior to that, you would have went all in. Prior to that, your mindset was like, hey, I'm down for whatever, until whatever came, right? And you had to experience whatever, and then you had to start creating boundaries. Okay. Let's go back to the bridge for a second. The bridge is another space that I want to address, because depending on how you approach the bridge, this will determine if you reach the other side. Because a lot of us get to a place where we know we want change. We know we want something different. We know that what we're doing is not as effective as it used to be. So now we reach the bridge, right? And this bridge is built with planks. The bridge with the ropes on the side and the planks in the middle. And so I use that as a representation, because each plank represents something, but the planks are not there automatically. And that's what we need to realize. Like, those planks, they come as we learn what our habits is to get to that new identity. So those little things that we put in place, right, is the planks that helps us get to the other side. So when the challenges arises, it may cause an identity crisis. So when you're in the midst of trying to figure out who is that person on the other side of the bridge that you want to be, you want to become, that's the challenge, because your old self, right, starts to remind you that you don't even know who your new self is yet. Those moments when you start to question the journey you have embarked on is what renders an identity crisis. So here we go with another definition. Identity crisis is the definition of, is defined as a period of uncertainty or confusion in one's life. I know I don't like where I've been. I don't like who I've been, but I would rather take the risk on going that way and figuring out who I'm becoming. So it may leave me in a momentarily point of identity crisis, but I'm going to come out of that thing. I'm going to come out of that thing once I get to the other side. So this crisis occurs when a person's sense of identity becomes insecure and unstable. An identity crisis usually occurs when there is a challenge in a person's life. Let me say that again. When there is a challenge, when where you at no longer serves you, what you've been doing is no longer beneficial to you in any other way, then what it's been doing is becoming more damaging than helpful. See, the only thing that's tying you there is a familiarity. And so that's where the identity crisis comes in, because familiar places can leave you stuck, because the fear of the unknown, you don't know what's over there. You don't know what that may bring. I remember a point in time when I had to leave an old place and come to a new one. And it wasn't even my own fear that I was really dealing with. I had made peace with it, right? I had made peace that this old place no longer works for me and I need to move on. And when I made that peace with myself, the fear was placed upon me. It wasn't even mine. And that's another thing. Like, we will get induced identity crisis because other people are scared. They're scared for you. You ain't even got to be the one that's scared. So when I was moving to this new place, people would say to me, are you sure that's what you want to do? Is that something you sure about? It's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. I mean, like, how you going to do it? Where you going to get money? How you gonna live? I mean, like, everything that could go wrong, people pointed it out. They didn't point out, girl, that's good, make a change. It's a great thing to go out there and leap. And these was faith-based people that were in doubt, but that's a whole nother story. And so at that first year, I decided that I was gonna make a move. I had told a lot of people that I was gonna do it. I did. Because I was proud. I was like, yes, I'm about to make this move. I'm about to do something great, about to do something different. I wanted people to be happy for me because I thought it was something great. I thought that great things were meant to be shared until I started getting other people's doubt. And then it didn't become other people's doubt after a while. Guess what started happening? It started becoming my doubt. So I made a declaration the following year, because that was the year I was supposed to leave. I was supposed to be gone. I didn't leave that year because I was weighed down and boggled down by other people's doubt. And I said, you know what? I'm going to leave and I'm going to go next year. But I'm going to do something different. And which I did. I shut my mouth. I shut my mouth and just did it. A lot of times we go through this, what I was just talking about, identity crisis. And a lot of times they don't even be our own. We be set out and ready to go, book bag packed, got my lunch, and I'm on my journey. Until somebody say, hey, did you toast your bread? I know you like toasted bread. Did you get your GPS up so you could get to, and it's not a matter of help. You can hear the doubt in their voice. It's covert, it's covered. It's covered by concern, but you can feel that doubt. Do you know this trail? Have you been on this trail before? I mean, if you want to go with me, just say that. Because you making precautions for me, like you need to pack your bag and go with me too. But I think you're just waiting to see if I make it to the other side first. Yeah. So the changes can consist of switching careers, growing to a pivotal age and not accomplishing what you think you should have, loss of a loved one, divorce, empty nest syndrome. And I just, all of these changes can cause an identity crisis because the life you used to know is no longer, right? So some of them is voluntarily, and some of it's just life. Life happens. These changes can definitely cause a major identity crisis, especially those beyond your control. You have to be careful and ensure that the changes that you choose to make based on who you want to become are small and consistent. That's the thing. It's like we want to become something, but we be in such a rush to get there. We be in such a rush for the finished product that we don't consider nothing else. Like, yo, I just got to get this done. I got to get this out here. I need people to hear me, see me, look at me. I need you guys to know that I exist. But how about building up to that, right? That's why for me, I said bump edits. Y'all gonna get raw, real, and maybe eventually I guess I'll do edits. But I don't understand. Life ain't edited. It's just not. And I think that's the illusion too. We've been over edited, and then when we try to figure out who we are, we think that we got to show up this perfectly shaped person because all we look at all day is edits. That's a whole nother thing. But man, I'm gonna get into the edits because those edits is killing us. Yep. Absolutely killing us. So back to the topic. When you rush into a big change, such as changing your identity, it tends to lack sustainability. Go up fast, come down hard. But once you start making those little changes and you start being consistent, that change of identity becomes a lifestyle, right? So rushing such a major change can cause a shock to the system and produce cognitive dissonance, right? And cognitive dissonance is the state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as related to behavioral decisions and attitude change. I'm doing this, but I don't believe it. I believe it, but I ain't doing it. You gotta have some sort of alignment. So this ties into the repeated habits, and when the habits don't align with the frame of thinking, the desired results will not be accomplished. You trick yourself. That's what a lot of people start to call imposter syndrome too. You get to a certain point and be like, I thought this was what I was supposed to do, but I don't think this is what I'm supposed to do. Am I supposed to be here? They said that, everybody said that, oh, you talk good. You got something to say. You need to record it. And now I'm here. What am I supposed to do with this something? Do something with it. Do something. You better tell that old self, hey, listen, you had a good run. You did. You helped me, you protected me. And you could come along for this ride. You just can't have the front seat no more. And that's the thing. When you got your old self and your new self, we forget that we got to introduce them most to one another. But I get back to that. So anything that you want to be starts with a thought and your attitude. These factors are very important to the shaping and choice of identity. When I think about identity, the sociologist Charles Cooley Looking Glass self-theory comes to mind. I remember when I was in undergrad school, I had a sociology class, and this thing stuck with me, okay? It says, I believe that we are mirror reflections of one another, because that's what it says in essence. That's exactly what that theory says, is that literally we are mirror images of one another, but not just mirror images. We are literally what we think the other person thinks they are. So that, and it is a tongue-tying thing, right? So to continue, this theory describes how oneself or social identity is dependent on one's appearance to others. The choice of identity is also proven by the people that you are in company with. There are 3 steps to this theory. Okay, so I have to break down this theory before I get to the actual theory itself. 1, imagining how others see one's self. 2, imagining how others respond. So first was seeing, second was respond, right, to what they perceive. Okay, and what do we talk about? Perception. Perception is what? Reality. And 3, so we got see, respond, perceive, and 3, we have how others feel. So all of these is how it starts with others. Before it even get to self, it starts with others. Feel about their perceptions. See, respond, feel. Wow. In that order. I see it, I respond to it, and I feel it. So Mead is another theorist that affirms this with people imagine how they appear to other people. So you start with your mind. Yeah, I think I look good. I think I'm gonna kill him with this outfit. They're gonna be like, girl, you bad. You did your thing. I think. 2, people imagine how others are, thus judging them based on appearance and how they perceive themselves. I think that is very powerful. And that's why we have this thing called modeling, and we model behavior, right? And so then as adults, we find fancy words for copycat. I mean, that's just really what it is. We say trending, influential. No, they have something that I just want to copy. That's really what that's Really what it boils down to. And third, people imagine how others feel about them based on the judgment they make. So if I'm judging people harshly, I may feel that people judge me harshly, and they may not, but it just may be my perception because of how I treat people. So here is, in essence, the theory itself. Here it goes. I am not who you think I am. I am not who I think I am. I am who I think you think I am. Right? So this is what goes on in someone's mind when they're thinking about themselves. So this is what I think you think of me when you think of me. Yeah, I know it's a bit much, but I would love to have a conversation about this with someone eventually. So this statement simply captures the complexity of identity. This is why I broke it down before actually reading the statement. I would ask that you take the time and really consider that statement with an open mind. So going back to identity, right? So let's address this identity thing again, because it's a two-step process, and I want to make sure you get this before you go. One is you have to decide the type of person you want to be. Two, you have to prove it to yourself with small wins. You can tell yourself, I want to be a writer, but you don't write nothing. I want to be a podcaster, but you never record anything. Right. And a lot of people are waiting on somebody else to tell them they can do it. Okay, I'll be the first one to tell you, you can do it. You can do it. Go ahead. Go do it right now. Yep. When you're consistent on this journey, the habits reward you twofold. Not one, but twofold. One, with the desired results, and second is you are showing yourself that you can trust yourself, that you can say something and you can show up for yourself. We be so concerned about other people showing up for us, and we lack the ability to show up for ourselves. Like, oh my gosh, hello. Like, it literally be like, yo, oh, you didn't show up for me. I wanted you to be there. Did you show up for you? Did you? Because a lot of times people be wanting other people to show up for them because they don't show up for themselves. So they need that caveat. They need somebody to blame. They need somebody to say, hey, you ain't show up today. How about telling yourself, hey, today I'm going to show up for me? In whatever way that looks like, whatever I told myself I'm going to do, I'm going to do it. And watch how other people show up for you. Watch. It's going to blow your mind how other people show up for you when you start showing up for yourself. Start building that self-trust. Okay? Because a lot of times this information can get lost in translation because we get stuck on why instead of the how. Okay? So how to start is the same as where you begin. The start is the beginning. You have to work backwards from the results you want. So now let's get into this thing just a little bit, because I want to tell you how to get there. Because a lot of times people will tell you what you need, but never tell you how to get there. So I'm gonna tell you how to get there. You have to work backwards from the results you want. Right. So I learned this technique, and it's about the scale down. Right. So you start with this big old view, and you say, hey, I want to be XYZ. Okay. And this is what I want to do. I want to, because I'll use this for instance, because it's a big thing now, because everybody has a voice. Everybody has a podcast. Everybody wants to be influential. Everybody wants people to follow them and listen to them and hear them. So I want to be influential. And what do I need to do? But the problem is that people are like, I don't want to be a copycat. Okay. But we all copying. That's what information is. Copy paste information. That's we're copying to some degree, because we believe that there's nothing new under the sun, I hope. So I'm rambling a little bit. Let me get back on topic. So all I'm saying is you have to say, hey, I want to be this, and what does it take to be that? So I know the end goal. I know where I'm trying to get to, but how do I get there? That's really the biggest part. It's the middle. Okay? You know where you started, that's the top bun. Okay, sesame seed bun. I know how I got here, and I use sesame seed because a lot of people don't use sesame seeds. They start picking off the bun, so you start picking off the seeds, and you can just get a whole new bun. But that's a whole nother story. So you got the sesame seed bun on the top, and you got the bottom of the bun at the bottom. You got the meat in the middle, and that's the most important part, the middle. Okay, what am I gonna do, right, to get from here to here? Is the middle. That's the bridge. Same thing. Right. And so you start working that thing backwards and saying, okay, now in HR, we call that mapping. You start to map out your route. A lot of people be really thinking that this stuff just comes for some people, it does come easy. But for some people, they got to put in the freaking work. We buy into this finished product so much that we forget about the work. We forget about the meat. We forget about what's in between. So you have to start by asking yourself, who is the type of person that could get the outcome that I want? That's all part of the research. That's part of the work. Like, some people wasn't born with it. I mean, let's just say it. And I've said this before. Some people were not born with it. And we consistently try to believe that folks are born with, if you want it, you can get it. If you want it, you can have it. It's yours. No, it's not. It ain't for everybody. That's another lie. Because if everything was for everybody, everybody would have everything. Everything ain't for everybody. Now, you can try some things and say, let me see if this is for me. What do I got to do to get here? I'm getting off topic again because my spirit is telling me something like, yo, people are really fooling themselves out of who they really are because they're trying to be somebody else versus who they are. And that's part of that identity thing. So once you have a handle on the type of person you want to be, you can begin taking small steps to reinforce your desired identity. You have the power to change your beliefs about yourself. I wonder what that looked like if a lot of people would actually tap into that. I wonder what that would be if people actually believe that. Because my thing is that a lot of people don't sell you the how, they'll sell you the why. And you already got the why. You know why you want change. You know why you here. You know why you're listening. You know why you arrived. You know why you go to work every day. You know the why. A lot of people need to know how. How do I get to the other side? How do I change this? How do I show up differently? And see, the how, a lot of people don't have that answer because more people regurgitate the why than the how. Okay, so that's why a lot of people are lost. So they get this information of why versus, well, how do I get to the other side? And then when you go buy into people product, they sell you more whys instead of how. Because a lot of times people are scared that if I give you the how, you won't come back. Well, the how is going to keep you coming back. You ever look at YouTube and you look at those videos, the how-to videos, right? How to do this, how to do that. And now, guess what? Those how-to videos keep you coming back. Anytime you want to learn to do something, it's a YouTube video for that because they're telling you how. You know the why. You know why. Why do I need to learn how to put a table together? Because I need a coffee table. That's why. So I don't need you to come tell me why I need a coffee table. I already know why. Tell me how to get one, how to put it together. Actually, I want to build one from scratch. And why? Because it's more satisfying. So I need you to tell me, how do I build this from scratch? You know what people will tell you? More the whys. Because you need to put your coffee on it. Because you need it for company. You could multitask with it. Don't tell me what I can use it for. Tell me how to freaking build it. Yeah. You have a choice at every moment. You can choose the identity you want to reinforce today with the habits you choose today. You make the choice today. You can have it today. By tomorrow, you can have it, but you got to start one day at a time. And that's the thing. We get so scared. We get terrified of the now. We worry about how we sound. We worried about how we look. It'll fix itself. You will shape up. But sometimes it's just the start. That's all it takes. The most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but who you want to become. Who is it? Who is that person? What does that person do? What does that person look like to you? Because it may not be a carbon copy, but it may be a blueprint. It may be a blueprint, and I understand. I understand it though. I do. It's tough out here. It is. But it's only as hard as we make it sometimes. And a lot of people gatekeep stuff because they scared somebody gonna steal something that's already out there. Oh, you're figuratively, you're stealing my identity. And I ain't talking about literally, figuratively, meaning copying off of me, and not giving me my credit. What does that mean? I was told very young that imitation is the best form of flattery. We don't use that anymore, I guess. I guess no one is flattered anymore, I guess. So in any event, to continue, um, we are forever changing people. Remember, it's important to continuously edit your beliefs to upgrade your identity accordingly. It's just what it is. In conclusion, I would simply ask that once you have mastered this approach, that you show grace. Show grace. Everybody ain't gonna get it when you got it. So just show a little bit of grace. I'm not saying sit and empathize and show sympathy and pity and all those sorrowful things. I'm just asking that you show a little bit of grace. And sometimes you can show grace just by asking a question. Really, you want to be that? What does that look like for you? It look like da 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 da. Okay, so you gonna start working on that? Absolutely. And if they never work on it, that's on them. But it ain't for you. See, I knew you wasn't gonna change. It was gonna always. Wait, whoa. Show a little grace, okay? Like, cause the changed folks. Ooh, I think I need to talk about that too. I'm gonna write that down because I definitely want to talk about changed folks because we went from saved folks to changed folks. Okay, you know, everybody don't have religion anymore, so saved folks is a whole nother ball game. But I want to talk about changed folks, and those changed folks, in whatever area of their life, I'm gonna need y'all to stop being the new monsters to people who are trying to change. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll say it. I'll say it. I'll be the first to say it. I'm sorry that people didn't give you grace on your journey. Like, I'm tired of people using that as an excuse to be mean to other people. Well, ain't nobody help me. I had to figure it out on my own. But the question I would ask, if you didn't have to figure it out on your own, would you? If you had a choice for somebody to help you, somebody who had knowledge and information that could have made your journey just a little bit easier, would you have taken that help or would you push it away? So if you would have pushed that help away, then by all means go out there and be a bitter Betty and say, I don't say ain't nobody help me. I need you to say I didn't want help. Because that's essentially what it is. I didn't want help and nobody helped me. So yeah. So I just want y'all to remember to give grace. Rome wasn't built in a day. Therefore, the patience this requires to develop your change of identity into a lifestyle is not a goal. It's a lifestyle. It's a consistent thing. And even when you get, because you're going to get to this point several times throughout your life, especially as women. I'm going to be very, very clear. Women, we are the inventors of reinventing. Because we know that life changes in different stages in life requires a different version of you. And a lot of women have embraced that, right? And we embrace that readily, and it can make your head spin sometimes. But we understand that childless me does not require the same energy and awareness as mother me. It's just a difference. We're different at different stages in our lives. So I just want you to remember that no matter what you do, no matter what you do, no matter at what point in life you reach, and you could have done what they say, I've arrived. So you may have arrived, but I want you to always remember, because and I'm gonna say this before I go. I remember just and even in my own parenting journey, it was a thing to buy your children, clothes just a little bit bigger, right? And they will always say, why you buy them pants big? Well, we gonna put a belt on that because I want to give him or her room to grow. And so that's my thing. I want you to always remember, no matter what, always, always leave room to grow. Thank y'all for listening.